Hey everyone, it's Steve Sudler with Foreign Cars Italia. We're here today in beautiful Mooresville, North Carolina, sunny day, and we have a special treat because we get to take out the new Ferrari Roma that we have in Rosso Fiorano. And our special driver today that's going to give us a ride in this car is none other than Brad Horstmann. Brad Horstmann is a Ferrari Challenge champion of 2019 and leading the championship in 2020. Hopefully we'll get another championship. Yeah. But his take on this car is going to be much more entertaining than mine. So we'll let Brad talk all about it when we get in.
Thanks for bringing him out. Into Ferrari Day.
Yeah. All right. All right, I'm with Brad Horstmann here, Ferrari Challenge driver for Foreign Cars Italia. We're going to take this Roma out on the road, and Brad's going to let us know what he thinks of this thing.
Yeah. First things first, all these new controls, I got to figure out where the start-stop button is.
I know, right? Well, it's the new touch screen.
Right here in the middle.
There you go. And then, there you go.
Wow, that screen is brilliant.
So compared to, like in the Challenge car, because the Challenge car has a screen like that, it's just as vivid, or is it obviously has different information?
Oh yeah, different information, but this is crystal clear, more vivid. Ours is a little bit more subdued in the Challenge car. It's more of the basic, just race type information, lap times,
right,
that sort of thing.
Which you're not going to have.
Yeah, you're not going to have that here. But this actually, I can notice there's actually a curvature to it. It looks like
there is,
and it's like I said, it's like 4K. I mean, it's amazing how clear that is.
And you have different sections of that screen. So you still have the traditional tack in the center, like you would the mechanical tack. But then you've got some navigation, you've got car status, and then the car status is all done here on the touch screen. You can go back, and then you scroll through here, and then choose which one you want there.
Wow.
So it's all the new interface.
Okay. Manatino's still the same.
It is.
Some things don't change. That's a good one.
Yeah, so I'm going to let you put it on whatever mode you want. How's that?
Well, I always go on race. So.
I would expect nothing less. All right.
Reverse.
Then, the new buttons here, it looks like the old gated shifter is
okay.
What the theme was going on there. So you have all the buttons there now.
Reverse.
And it always starts out in auto. So if you want manual, then you just flip that back to manual.
We'll definitely switch that in a minute. All right.
Ready? Yeah, let's go. Let's hit this thing.
I love the color, love the interior. Just pull forward on the...
Yep.
And then we want to go manual.
So I think, and I'll see what you think when you drive it, but, I think with the twin turbo engine, a lot of the thought was, it's a little muffled with the twin turbo. But I think they've done a great job with this car in the sound.
That does sound good. I agree with you. It's a Ferrari.
Yeah.
They all sound good. Yeah, all the controls are really nice. Crystal clear backup camera.
And this one does have the optional steering wheel, which is the carbon fiber steering wheel with the LED lights, shift lights up there, which is always a good touch.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing you notice in this is just how different everything is.
Right.
I mean, the vents, the center console, like you say, it's that SF90 touch controls. Fewer like analog type controls, I guess. Right. I don't know what you call them, but yeah, I mean, like just adjusting the mirrors over here on the left, the whole steering wheel.
All touchscreen.
Yeah.
Which is really cool that they're able to do that. And it's funny because Ferrari has so much of this type of technology that's in their Formula One cars, and they put this interface in here based off of what they've learned in Formula One and the steering wheels and things like that. So,
actually, I want to take these off.
Since we're going to be driving a little faster, we have to breathe.
That's right.
That's what it is.
Has a great sound. Explain to me the similarities between this and a Portofino.
So the new Portofino M, the Portofino Modificata that is coming out, is actually has this engine in it. So it bumps it up from a 580 horsepower to 610. And then this car has the new 8-speed dual clutch transmission. So the Portofino had the 7-speed, but the new Portofino M now introduces the 8-speed to the Portofino line.
Okay.
So now your challenge car has this transmission, but only the 7-speed, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is the same transmission.
It is a dual clutch transmission out of the 488 car, but that, like you said, is a 7-speed. This is the 8-speed.
Yeah. But I mean, even among the 488, the street version.
Yeah, it's exact
Is it really?
same. Yeah, same off the shelf engine. Transmission is exactly the same in the 488.
I guess I don't know. I never really thought about it.
Yeah.
I just assumed the transmission would have been a little bit beefier.
No.
But I mean, given what we do to those things, I can't imagine. I mean, they're well built.
They are. They are.
We've never once had a transmission issue in any of our gearbox issue in any of the cars.
Yeah, and it's amazing that you can go out there with basically a street transmission and go out there and race with them and not have and especially with the level of sophistication that's in them, because they are pretty technical.
Well, I mean, the other thing too is how quickly. Even I mean, we're only driving at 45 miles an hour down out of the neighborhood here, just very gently, and yet the shifts are spot on.
Yeah,
they're quick.
That's the biggest thing I tell people when they drive a Ferrari. I first notice not only the power, but it's the shift.
Yeah.
The transmission is, the shift with no lift. And
yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I mean, there's that. And then just, I mean, for everybody that's had a Ferrari, they know. But it's just, the ergonomics are amazing. And this car is no different. I mean, you sit in it and it's like a glove. The steering wheel, everything's right at your fingertips. I mean, the seating, the sight lines are all so good. It's why Ferrari's Ferrari.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're right.
That's why they have the reputation.
Yeah, and it's all about the driving experience. You know, it's not. It's in so many cars today, it's about the Bluetooth and the lane change assist and all that kind of stuff. But this is actually just a Ferrari is a driver's car. It's about driving.
Yeah. I couldn't give anybody a review on the audio system. I've never listened to one in all the cars I've ever owned. Because that's I mean, one thing.
Yeah.
The whole time as you're talking and I'm talking, I'm listening to the engine and it just sounds so good.
I'm one of those people that like to keep it up a gear or two.
Same.
Because I like to hear the engine.
Well, and also, in any Spider I've had, I always put the rear window down.
Oh, yeah.
Even when it's 32 degrees outside.
Yeah, you have to be able to listen to it and hear it.
I just want to listen to it, yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing like, and there's other, I always say that all the brands have a different personality. And it doesn't matter if you're driving a front engine Ferrari like this one or a mid-engine sports car, they all have that personality.
Yep.
That is a traditional Ferrari. The 488 Challenge car is a mid-engine sports car. And this is a front engine. Same engine, but it's a front engine. So can you feel a difference in the weight balance in this versus the mid-engine sports car?
Yes, but not to the extent that you can in a Portofino.
Okay.
And I've owned a Portofino, I own a California T. Those cars are, looking at this car and knowing what it is, knowing what they are, I expected this to drive very much the same as those. And honestly, this feels closer to, I don't want to say my challenge car, because a race car is a whole different animal.
Right.
Even though it is based on the 488. But this feels closer to me than to a 488.
Really?
Than it does, say, the Portofino. I don't know. It just everything feels a little tighter on this.
Sure. Sure. And I wonder if it's because there's a roof. So you have that rigidity that you may not have in a Portofino or California T. I don't know.
True. Maybe. But I mean, just the balance feels great. And I think there's something with the gearing is, I think, giving me a lot of that feeling also. That's one of the biggest differences also I feel with this and like say a Portofino,
right?
Which is again similar platform.
Yes,
it just feels like it's ready to go. The Portofino is a very comfortable car to drive around.
Yeah,
and I mean we've only been in this thing for a few minutes, but this is feels like it's ready to go. Like I don't have to drive it as hard.
Right. I
can tell already to get it to do what I want, to become a Ferrari.
Right.
Versus driving a Portofino is very elegant, it's very tame, it's very civilized until you get it up to maybe 5,000 and then it comes to life.
Sure.
This is at 3,000, it's ready to go, I can tell right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just feels a little bit more responsive. And it must be
probably
the
is
gearing.
the gearing, and especially because this will now have an exextra gear in a way, because it's the 8-speed. So
you may be right.
The
You're not
gearing is going to
stretching
be a
them
little
as far.
different. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Good point.
But I think too, it's this car is meant to be an understated car. Definitely not an entry level, and you'll feel when you really get on the throttle. It definitely has all the Ferrari performance that you would expect. To your point, but it is a little bit more understated externally than it is.
Oh, for sure.
You know, it
For
doesn't
sure.
have the scoops, it doesn't have the creases and things like that of a sports car.
The low slung, wide body. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Oh, I
Right.
mean, it's.
But it
it's-
has everything in there that you would find in a sports car.
Yeah. I love all the carbon touches. I like the little extra stripe.
Yeah, no, that's a cool feature that you have, and you can specify that based off of what the exterior color is to bring that color to the interior. And then the upper dash and lower dash are different colors, and you can have that too.
Such a good sound.
Yeah, I think it sounds better than the Portofino.
It feels nimble.
As if
It
Right.
wants to be driven.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And to your point, I think you feel that in this car where you don't in the Portofino.
Right. Right. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I always liked that car. It's just, you had to be a little bit more aggressive with it
To get it to do what you
to
want.
come to life.
Yeah.
And whereas the 488s, the 458s, and those cars, they're ready to go at 3,000 RPM. You can feel that they're ready.
Right.
The nimbleness and the responsiveness. This one's more in that line.
And can you feel turbo lag in this?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you in a second, but when we get to a little bit, maybe a little bit more open road.
Right.
But not yet, for sure. But I'll say that Ferrari's done an amazing job on that. I mean, everyone was so fearful of the 488
Right.
when they switched it to a turbo engine, and I was no different from anyone else. That it was going to ruin the sound and the responsiveness.
Right.
And you drove 2 shifts in that 488, and you realize, wow.
Yeah. The power is just amazing.
Wow, they got it right.
And you just hear that turbo rush, which I think is cool. You just hear that sound of the air going through the turbine, which is pretty cool sound. So what you have in your challenge car, when you have the traction control knobs, that's what it's doing, but it's just one knob, not 2.
Yeah.
So
that's all. This is only like you say, traction control.
correct.
That's all this is really changing.
Yeah, it is changing the mapping and it's changing the gear shift.
Okay.
So if you are in comfort and you do the shift, you'll notice it's not as quick. It's a little easier in the shift.
There's no suspension change there.
No, it does that automatically. But this is the Magna Ride. So if you remember, this has the electromagnetic shocks and dampers. So it's constantly changing.
Okay.
Sort of like an active control.
No matter what.
No matter what setting
you
you're
have
in,
on Menatino. Got
it's changing side slip. It's changing the torque mapping. It's changing traction control. And again, with your dash having 2 knobs for traction control, when it comes on and how hard, the computers are doing it automatically here.
Got it.
This does not have any ABS changes that you can do manually. Like
They're all on.
You're
Always
right.
on.
It's always on. Yeah. But the
probably
challenge car you can change.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a good idea on a street car.
Yeah. Definitely don't want people turning that down.
No.
Yeah. Oh, we can get a little bit of fun stuff here. A bit of fun stuff here. Yeah. But see, it gets a little squirrely, doesn't it? I mean, you get wheel spin
Yeah, well,
in this
we're in
car.
race mode, yeah.
Yeah, in
But
race
it
mode you
allows
can.
you to, it definitely allows to freeze it up a little.
Yes, but I think to your point, the Portofino, it's harder to do that.
You're probably right. Yep. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, the response, the car just took off like a rocket.
But no turbo lag,
Yeah.
which is amazing in this car.
And I nailed the limiter really quick. it's
So
like
it's
that
got good
gearing.
ratios. Yes.
Yeah. This is where we turn.
Is it this one or the next one?
Is it this one?
Next one, I think.
What do sure? Well, actually, you can go either way, I think. Maybe. I don't know. God, it handles so well. Wow, second gear.
This definitely is performance. It is not understated when you drive it like a Ferrari Challenge driver does.
Yeah, this is like I said, it has the understated look, so you can really drive it anywhere.
Yeah.
Dinner, lunch, breakfast, coffee, wherever. Not sure. You know, for me, some people could drive it to the office. Others maybe not so much.
Yep.
But comfort and like kind of that usability and the experience is just it checks every box.
It does.
To me, it's just such a great car. I was a little skeptical about it when it first came out, thinking that this was going to be more of the entry level,
right?
You know, bring in the new buyers, which it may and will, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But wow, what an experience!
Yeah. No, and that's sort of how they position this car. This car is meant for not an entry level. There's no entry level, so to speak, but it's for someone that may be new to the Ferrari brand and has a little maybe intimidated somewhat by the sports car look and thinks that might be too much for them. So you can have this car. It's a little bit understated, but it has all the performance that you could. So you're new to the Ferrari brand, and now you can move up to a sports car with more. The F8 has 100 more horsepower than this. So it's definitely a jump up in power.
Wow.
This has 610. So you're right. Yeah, 610 horsepower here, and your challenge car has about 680.
Yeah.
So I mean.
Yeah, you know it's weird though. I mean, when you're buckled into a challenge car, and you've got a molded seat and a 6-point harness and a halo, around the helmet with the Hans and the helmet and everything, and you're on a closed track and the whole 9 yards. There's just that car won't go fast enough. I find myself strapped in doing this sometimes.
Like, go.
Yeah, like it thing needs more power sometimes.
Yeah.
But yet it would scare you to death on a road like this, and I don't normally get on it that often. Right. For those reasons, because it's
not the place to always do it.
That's right. But it's amazing how the different settings. I mean, this is everything you'd ever want.
Right. But it's funny because the 488, if you look at compared to the challenge car and the street car, they both have the same engine transmission, but the street car actually has a faster top end. So it has a higher top speed because obviously it doesn't have all the drag and downforce and things like that the race car has. Which I think too, with all that downforce, it probably does feel a little bit different than what this would because it doesn't have all the downforce.
Yeah, for sure.
Now you've driven race cars that have iron brakes, right? So with the carbon ceramics, how different is the feel?
You definitely initially you need to get heat in them.
Okay.
Number one, because if you don't, then you feel like they're not working, something's wrong. So you definitely want to build a little bit of heat, which you get on them hard a few times, and it doesn't take long. But if you don't do that initial application, or if you don't do that, you go to the initial application, you're going to think something's wrong.
Right. So do you do that in the street cars too? Can you feel that?
Yes.
Yeah. So you get some heat in, even this car, you get some heat in it to really feel it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, especially on cold days like today. I mean, it's in the 30s today.
Right.
So, although granted, I know the car may have sat there a little bit before I got in it, but they cooled off a little. But I've noticed just on my own cars for sure, even getting in it with the carbons, pulling to the end of the street, or like I said, just in the neighborhood, I can tell that the car doesn't stop initially like you'd expect it to.
It's amazing. I mean, you do that and a smile immediately comes to your face. Yeah. I mean, I would tell people all the time, you can never get out of a Ferrari and not have a smile on your face.
Yeah.